Hello and buenos tardes, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the 5th qualifying session of the 2026 season of the NR2003 FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. We get ready to set the grid for tomorrow afternoon's TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix here in Mexico City. A pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you down to Mexico here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. My name is Trey Wright. We are getting things right and ready to go here as Taylor Lane will come out in the 07 machine. First of 30 cars. GT Le Mans that will put down a lap time here over the next 15 minutes. 14 minutes all ready to go and 1 minute already off of the board. And it has been a little bit since we have seen the FMGTC cars here on the North American Sim Racing Network. You got to go all the way back to the early part of April at the Old Spice Raceway. The last time we saw the Grand Touring cars out on track. There's current points leader for GT Le Mans, Chris Harvey, in the number 8 machine. So make sure our audio levels are nice and orderly. They sound pretty good on our end. They should sound pretty good on your guys' end as well. Chris Harvey currently with a 20-point lead over John Andrews coming in around number 5 here in Mexico City. An incredibly diverse track here in Mexico with plenty of long straightaways, technical corners, and we saw this track, the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as the last year's Xfinity Series. Of course, they used the little bit shorter section over by the turns 5 through 8, if I'm not mistaken, as there's Reggie Fogelman in the 11 machine. Taylor Lay, top of the charts in the 07. There's Zachary Fitzwater. He's currently sitting 27th in the point standings for the Bass Pro Shop 62. Trying to make his 3rd race of the season. Michael Lewis still waiting for him to come out. There's Eric Monaco, your Daytona 2.4 champion for GTLM, putting down a time as Philip Torres will jump to the top of the charts, a 1 minute 35.878 on the board for that GM Goodwrench number 4 machine. Right behind Roberto Crown Jr. Crown Jr. right behind James Lawson, and here is a newcomer making her debut today for the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship, at least in qualifying. That is the number 04 of Lacey Fogelman, the fiance to Reggie Fogelman, as we're talking about Reggie a couple of moments ago. Of course, the whole fallout from the Daniel Voiles incident a couple of weeks ago resulted in a Luna Farmer losing her ride after only 1 race completed. That coming out the Papyrus Motorsports Park about 2 months ago for that Nikon 04 Jaguar team. And unlike in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series where there are owner points, since there are no official owners, driver points will transfer over to Lacey Fogelman. Of course, Luna Farmer was only able to amass 60 points through the opening 4 races of the season, so not sure if a championship is going to be within the cards for this 04 program. They are still miles behind Chris Harvey. They're 3 races worth of points behind Chris Harvey in that number 8 machine. So the way things are running right now, doesn't look like a championship is going to be within the playbook for that 04. Of course, they're still just trying to make the race as the current cut line was putting Angel Gutierrez, the first car on the outside looking in. Mike Vincent Jr. with the final spot right now. So now that we're a third of the way through qualifying, we'll bring up our new scrolling ticker. Bring it over the new design, the Clable design. Here for all you guys. You can probably just barely make out the intervals on the bottom, but James Lawson, the only driver that has not put down a lap yet. And I believe he is probably, I don't know what happened in the 02. He was out on track. I'm not sure if he had some sort of issue, as it looks like he has put down a lap. No, he hasn't. So I don't see Lawson even on the pit lane. There he is. So he is yet down to put in a lap. And that's going to be pretty detrimental for him if he doesn't, if he's not able to get his tires warmed up. Right now, Philip Torres, who was top of the charts, now the first car on the outside looking in. And just like that, he'll jump back inside the top couple of spots. It's Pedro Sabato, development driver for Esteban Lasser, will go to the top of the charts in the number 64 machine. How about Harrison Fox in the 27? I believe that's Harrison Fox, or do I have? No, it's Joey Hightower. I'm getting my 27s mixed up between GT Le Mans and GT Daytona. But how about Joey Hightower up in second right now? Angel Gutierrez would round out the podium. There's that 27 Jaguar, with Jaguars right now on the front row, 1-2. Bradley Ream will go up to third, and that's going to push Gutierrez down to fourth. Trying to see where that 8 machine is. Currently 23rd for the points leader of Chris Harvey. And that's not a site where he wants to see right now. That's not a place he wants to be. It's currently the 9 drivers. That would be on the outside looking in. Would be Emily York Watson, Riley Sampson, Chris Harvey, Nathan Stapleton, John Andrews, Mike Vincent Jr., who has really struggled this season for the defending GTLM champion. Kasumi Takashi, the defending winner of this race last year in GT Daytona, and Sarah Taylor, as well as James Lawson, who the Budweiser 02 finally is going to trundle out onto the track here at AHR with 8 minutes to go here in qualifying. And he's going to have to put down a couple of really good laps right now. The cut line, 132.414. And we actually have a 3-way tie. Once again, we saw this incident in GT Daytona last race at Old Spice. So if one of these guys down below gets a faster time, because we got a 3-way tie for 19th right now. And if one of these guys down below them gets a faster time than a 132.414, then that is really going to shake things up, because right now, I believe Philip Torres would have the tiebreaker. Eric Monaco in the 2, he would have the first tiebreaker, as he is the highest of all those drivers in the points, and then I'm pretty sure it would be Torres and then Fogelman. Torres would have the first tiebreaker, then it would be Monaco. So right now, Reggie Fogelman right on the cusp of not making the show. If any of these bottom 9 drivers gets a faster time than a 132.414. So Reggie Fogelman needs to pick up the pace a little bit there. His fiance currently in 10th with 6:30 to go here in Q. Got a good look at the 86 machine of Russell Blaze. Your defending winner here with his win at the Old Spice Raceway a couple of weeks ago. Of course, the Blaze father and son unfortunately couldn't get the job done, as Eric wasn't able to follow in his father's footsteps to Gatorade Victory Lane. 6 minutes to go here in qualifying. We'll check back down below. And did we have somebody beat the time? No, we didn't. So Fogelman, for the time being, still in the show. Putting down a 135.9 on his outlap was James Lawson. Lawson has an opportunity on these fresher tires than everybody else to really put down a flyer and really put us into that tiebreaker scenario. Taylor Lay a little bit slow in front of quite a few Jaguars running up through here. It's a line of Jaguars as Nathan Stapleton down the pit lane. He's looking for a couple of adjustments. He's currently on the outside looking in. We'll see what it will be for Lawson this time around. Is he going to run anything faster than a 132.414? He did not. He was off by 0.6 of a second from Kasumi Takashi. So a very slow second lap out on track. But he's still trying to get things warmed up, but no changes in times with under 5 to go here in GT Le Mans qualifying. So we see Kasumi Takashi, her sister Chikira, will be qualifying the car that won here in Mexico City 1 year ago. Here on a beautiful Cinco de Mayo Eve on a wonderful Monday afternoon here in Mexico City. Nothing really that time by for the 7 car. Her best lap was a 132.59. And her last lap, this last time by, a 133. We'll check back here whenever James Lawson, there he is, the 02. Now that he's got his tires warmed up, I've got a really good feeling about this lap. But if he's not able to beat that 132.414 this time around, we've only got 4 minutes to go in Q. I don't know if he's going to beat it. A little squirrely as Logan Williams. Not the greatest of exits coming out of the stadium section. Survey says just going to push Fogelman down. Here we come off the final corner, and James Lawson not going to run a faster time than 133, and that might be all she wrote. Last time by, he ran a 133.7, so he did lose a lot of time through that stadium section. Still a little bit of time to go in qualifying for that Budweiser Camry program, but in all likelihood, it looks like Pedro Sabato might end up winning this pole position for tomorrow afternoon's race here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, with 50 laps going on the board here at this beautiful road course in Mexico City. Trying to find that 64 car. We probably passed him somewhere out on track. There he is, all by his lonesome, a 132.276. And I'm not sure if anybody below this top 21 is going to be able to really put us in that insane 3-way tiebreaker scenario. You know, it's crazy because it was the exact same thing that happened in GT Daytona qualifying at Old Spice a couple of weeks ago, where we also had a 3-way tie between Ryan Durrani, Matt Lagasse, and Igor Barretta, or was it Juan Carlos Espinoza? It was Igor Barretta, Juan Carlos Espinoza, and somebody else. I can't quite remember. Actually, I can pull it up. Who was the first one out? It was Igor Barretta was the first one on the outside looking in, and Juan Carlos Espinoza was another driver. I'm pretty sure it may have been Daniel Bouchard. We'll double check the race notes here. And it was Landon Walker. All right, so it was Juan Carlos Espinoza, Landon Walker, and Igor Barretta that were in a 3-way tie last race at Old Spice for GT Daytona, and they're hoping that the same fate doesn't really befall them here. As we've got a minute to go in regulation, we'll have a little bit of bonus time for these drivers, try to make their last little bit of a run. But I'm liking where Sabato is sitting, and I'm liking where Fogelman is sitting. And we've got a pretty diverse top 10. Got Sabato and Hightower on the front row. That's not who we thought would be sitting on the front row for this race. We got Bradley Reams still looking for his first win in a Grand Touring car. Angel Gutierrez and Roberto Crown Jr. are going to round out the top 5 at the moment. And then you got Caleb Rose, Anthony Joseph making his 3rd start of the season. Eric Monaco is finally going to get a decent start aside from his pole position start at Daytona. He's right now slotted to be 8th. Can't stop Mateus Bento, one of the hottest drivers on the NASRN. He's going to start 9th at the moment, and Bryce Egan looks like he'll round out the top 10. Lacey Fogelman looks like she'll make the show comfortably in 11th. Zachary Fitzwater is going to make back-to-back races for the first time this season. Same thing with Michael Lewis and Kyle Wood. Taylor Lane's going to start 15th. Bruno Diacomo, after the topsy-turvy last couple weeks, he's endured in that 12 over on the NBCS side of things. Looks like he's going to be starting in 16th in that 12 car, back in a ride that he's a little bit more accustomed to. Did get a solid result a couple of days ago at Texas World. Owen Miles is going to start 17th. Logan Williams would be 18th. Russell Blaze looking for 2 in a row. He's going to be starting deep in the field in 19th. And Philip Torres will round out the top 20. How about that? Bruno Diacomo is he's actually going to fall down to 17th as he and Taylor Lay swap spots on the pylon. Looks like, barring anything last minute from these guys back through here, got 30 seconds to go, and this is gonna need to be the lap for James Lawson. He wants to create any sort of chaos, and it doesn't look like that he will. And once again, it seems like the points leader has not been a spot that you want to be in either class. The final 5 seconds are going to tick down. How about Pedro Sabato? No, we got 30 seconds to go, so not quite done yet. I was trolling you guys a little bit there. We got 15 seconds to go, and that should be it. And it looks like that 3-way tie is not going to be a 3-way tie anymore, just going to be a tie but for 20th and 21st. But Pedro Sabato is going to end up starting on the pole position for tomorrow afternoon's 50-lapper here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. There are your
Drivers,
results.
to your car.
For GT Le Mans qualifying, Pedro Sabato and Joey Hightower will start on the front row. For the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix, Bradley Ream and Angel Gutierrez will be row number 2. Roberto Crown Jr. rounds out the top 5, and starting 6 be rounded out by the 5 of Caleb Rose, the defending winner of this race from 1 year ago, starting in 6th for car number 5. And the 9 drivers that will be going home here this afternoon will be Emily York Watson, Riley Sampson, Chris Harvey, John Andrews, Nathan Stapleton, Mike Vincent Jr., Sarah Taylor, Kasumi Takashi, and James Lawson. And you look at the point standings, Owen Miles only 31 points back of both Harvey and Andrews. He's 11 points back of John Andrews and 31 back of Chris Harvey. He's going to be starting in 13th, and if he can navigate his way around the opening little bit of chaos here, could be a great opportunity going into the nearly 2-month break for Owen Miles to possibly take the points lead away from a couple of his NBCS counterparts in terms of, no, Chris Harvey and John Andrews aren't in the NBCS anymore, but Owen Miles looking to take the spots away from those guys. We're looking to take the points lead away from him, and he got Mateus Bento as well, who's going to be starting in 9th, and he's only 7 points off of Owen Miles. Those two are going to be the drivers to watch in terms of the points lead, but in terms of the race victory, I think Pedro Sabato's got a pretty good chance of trying to get the job done tomorrow afternoon. We've still got GT Daytona qualifying to get up here in just a couple of moments, so we'll send things back down for GTD qualifying here in Mexico City. And we're immediately right back here for GT Daytona qualifying for tomorrow afternoon's TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix, race number 5 of the season for the NR2003 FlowMaster Grand Touring Championships 2026 campaign here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Trey Wright right back at you. So we get ready to set the grid for GT Daytona. 30 cars coming in. 9 of them will go home. There is Daniel Bouchard looking to immediately set the tone in that Coke Zero Ford Mustang Cobra. Will Parrish also coming out of the pit lane as well. So they're all coming out of here, going through the opening set of S's, and well, turns 1 through 3 historically have been the most chaotic here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez as Bucky Campbell coming out there on the one machine, trying to finally make a race. He is 0 for 4 so far this season for the rookie driver. In terms of making the dance, could today be the day he finally makes a race at a very technical track? Not sure how things will play out, but I believe this is the first track we've got where there is virtually no banking. It's about as flat as Kansas here at this track. And you go back to the first 4 tracks we got to. Daytona, obviously a lot of banking. Papyrus, a lot of banking. Old Spice, a little bit of banking. You know, it's just particularly going through turn 7. And then Willow Springs, you got a little bit of banking, but there's a lot of elevation there. But almost no elevation here at AHR, no banking. It's about as technical of a track as they come. So we'll see if Campbell is able to make the grid. There's Alexander Rowe in car number 88, taking it down the back straightaway, heading towards turn number 12 into the stadium section. And these GT Daytona point standings also being pretty interesting as Alexander Rowe holding a 1-point lead in the standings over Dylan Ebrahimian. Coming into this race, remember, if memory serves me right, Ebrahimian did not make the show. He did not in car number 25. He didn't make the race a couple of weeks ago at Old Spice. Alexander Rowe did, and he was able to limp home that car. Actually, he got a 7th place finish despite having a pretty eventful day up in Sturgeon Bay. Right now, Parrish top of the charts with a 137.372 on his outlap. Parrish. Now we got Harrison Fox in the 27 car trying to get his 2nd start of the season. Fox's only start of the year coming at Papyrus, where he was able to finish 13th in that 27 machine, as we got a good look at Ryan Durrani, who has not been doing too fairly well in that number 16 machine. I think he has failed to make the last couple of races. Actually, he did finish 9th at Old Spice, so not a terrible run. Logan Alexander, Nathan Buchanan, and Titan Nicholas joining out. And there was the driver that had the biggest heartbreak. Eric Blaze could not join his dad in victory lane a couple of weeks ago at Old Spice. Blaze, father and son, giveth and they taketh. The win being giveth to Russell, and Eric, unfortunately, being on the other end of that spectrum, he got the short end of the stick there. Going to the top of the charts right now, you got the 7 of Joseph Wood. Kyler Anderson, there's something about that 42 machine, as I thought Lord Martinez was going way wide off through the corner. But Joseph Wood trying to join his brother Kyle on the charts, and Kyler Anderson has been an absolute unit when it comes to qualifying. Now he's going to fall a little bit through the pylon as everybody is putting down some pretty good laps. But qualifying has been the biggest strong suit there for this 42 Mopar program. But, you know, once you get out of qualifying, it's not only been the strong suit, it's really been the only suit for this team. They're pretty deep in the point standings. They're all the way down in 19th in the point standings. They have made every race so far. Now that I say that, they're probably going to miss out as he's continuing to drop as more and more drivers putting down pretty good lap times. Dylan Matthews jumps up to 2nd. The 133.8 flat. Joseph Wood, currently the only driver to run a sub 133.8 at the moment. We got a tie for second and third between Dylan Matthews and Aaron Abel. Matthews currently would hold the tiebreaker the way things stand. And now how about Damian Karanko? Top of the charts for the 21. That Screamin' Eagle Mustang was screaming out of the last couple of corners here. Screaming out of turn 17, and he will fly his way to the front. might be in the nation of the Royal Eagle, but we got a screaming bald eagle coming out of here in that Harley-Davidson Mustang, and he ran a 1:33.75, 6/1000ths of a second faster than Joseph Wood. Now Aaron Abel putting down a sub 1:33.8 himself. Will break out of that tiebreaker with Dylan Matthews. And all 30 cars have put down lap times here. We'll right now see who the cut line is. It's Dylan Ebrahimian with a 1:33.96. He's going to push out Esteban Lasser by 6/1000ths of a second. And now Samat Oskin on the chopping block. One driver had a pretty good lap time. I believe that was Bucky Campbell, who raised out of the doldrums there in that one machine. Currently in 17th. We were talking about him at the top of the show. Can he finally make a race? And Alexander Rowe not having a really good qualifying run right now. A 1:34.229. And that is 0.3 of a second off the pace right now. Samat Oskin with the final transfer spot. But the good news for Alexander Rowe right now is that Dylan Ebrahimian would also not make the show right now, as he is only 6/1000ths of a second away from making the dance. The only problem is that Ebrahimian would still take the points lead away from him, just at least going into the race tomorrow, because again, these guys do in fact get points through qualifying, because the first driver on the outside looking in gets 10 points and then goes all the way down to 30th, who gets 2 points. So Ebrahimian would theoretically still get the points lead. He would still leapfrog Alexander Rowe, but Rogel Dorn, who currently he's up to 7th, he's looking to be in a pretty good spot to take this points lead with a pretty good run in tomorrow afternoon's 50-lap event. Nathan Buchanan, top of the charts, an absolute flyer for the 99, a 1:33.657, blowing the doors by a whole 1/10 of a second off of Karanko's time. It doesn't get much faster than that there for Nathan Buchanan, looking for his second career win in the Grand Touring Series. Quite literally blowing the doors off everybody. It's not going to matter a whole lot as you look at a lot of drivers on the outside looking in. Ryan Durrani, he ran a 1:38. That 16 machine exponentially slow, and of course that was his last lap if I'm not mistaken. He came back down the pit lane. We'll see if he's able to run. He ran a 1:37 on his out lap with 6 minutes to go here in Q. Like we said, it's been a really rough go so far this season for Durrani in that Gillette Mustang program. Single car team here and a single car team over for Durrani Racing on the Mission Barbecue Cup Series landscape, as Aaron Abel, he's out in front of him as well. Harrison Fox has dropped down the order down to 8th. Robert Mikhailovich 9th, and Titan Nicholas would round out the top 10 currently. But Nathan Buchanan, I don't think anybody is beating that time. The only driver with a sub 1:33.7. That's not even a whole 100th of a second. That's a whole 1/10 of a second faster than everybody else. I was selling him short. That was literally an absolute flyer. It was 6/1000ths of a second off from it being a full 1/10 faster than Karanko and company. So I didn't exactly mean to undersell Nathan Buchanan's absolutely blistering lap, but he is absolutely hauling the mail. He is hauling the Menards right there in that PPG Paints Menards 99 car. Your winner at Autumn Hill back in the November of 2025 with under 5 minutes to go here in Q. Coming down to the final 4:12 of qualifying. Of course, we'll get about 2 minutes of bonus time for any drivers trying to make one last stab here. And right now, 1:33.954, the time to beat for these bottom 9 drivers to make the show. Russell Blaze down the pit lane. He is one of the 9 drivers that is currently on the outside of the looking glass. Dylan Ebrahimian trying not to miss 2 consecutive races. That would really kill his chances of bringing that 25 car to its second championship in series history. Michael Brown taking that CarQuest Auto Parts Corvette, Viper, Dodge Viper, I should say. Got my manufacturers mixed up. That's Kalila Viper in that 25 machine. Michael Brown took that to the championship in 2024, the inaugural season of the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. Esteban Lacer, the defending champion, on the outside looking in as well. He is currently about a 10th off. He's a second off the pace where that 51 car has really set the bar with 3 minutes to go. Aaron Abel looks to be pretty comfortable at the moment. He's up to 4th. Aaron Abel, Dylan Matthews would round out the top 5 along with Buchanan, Karanko, and Joseph Wood. Like we're talking about, Kyler Anderson. Doesn't look like it's going to be too great of a qualifying run to what he is expecting. Actually, he's right now. He's in 20th. So if 2 drivers get past him on the pylon, that's going to knock him out of the race for tomorrow. But again, you look at these points, guys. You look at this point situation. Again, like we're talking about Rogel Dorn, he's in 7th in the top 2. Just like we saw in GTLM a little bit ago. They would not make the race. And that's why qualifying has been such a great addition, in my opinion. Because there is a lot for you to gamble. Everybody has just as much of a chance to make the race as everybody else. Here comes that 93 machine. Currently Connor Monaco, he's all the way down in 28th. Trying to get a little bit of speed out of that TNT Man 93 machine. Got the Racing with Jesus sticker on the back end, and that was a late addition on that 93 car. It's proven to be worth something, as got the Racing with Jesus decals on the Bobby Dale Earnhardt number 89 machine of the Arca Menard Series. Recording, at least qualifying, as he's going to nearly get into the 88 of Rowe, and Rowe's just going to put on the brakes. Oh, that's going to do it. Unfortunately, that's not some harmless shenanigans. That's some harmful shenanigans for that Mustang, and that is going to be all she wrote for Connor Monaco. And like we were saying, hoping that's not a bad omen for tomorrow, as I'm recording qualifying the day before the Arca Menards race at Talladega. Hopefully looking for just a solid top 15, top 10 run for that 89 group. It's one of the few races I'm not going to be at this season, as tomorrow is my girlfriend my girlfriend Emily's birthday. English is hard, ladies and gentlemen, but want to wish Emily a happy 24th birthday tomorrow afternoon, as that's when Talladega is going to be going live here for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Of course, at this rate, Brennan Wilmington and Zachary Fitzwater have won the last 2 races here on the MBCS circuit. Fitzy getting that win just a couple of days ago at the Texas World Speedway. And I know he's going to be licking his chops going to Watkins Glen here in a couple of days. And that's going to be a challenge for a lot of these drivers, as not only are we running at Watkins Glen, we're running at the NASCAR, the stock car version of Watkins Glen International. That is right, we do not have the boot anymore. We're trading off the boot for the inner loop. Or as NASCAR, or IMSA would probably call it the Le Mans chicane, it's the bus stop, okay? It's the bus stop, it's the inner loop, it's the most common feature. It's the most distinct feature of Watkins Glen, if you ask anybody. It's not that, like, the 90 is not even that distinct, although it's pretty distinct, a downhill 90-degree corner. We got that at Indianapolis. Does anybody else have a boot that goes directly into a carousel? I don't think so. That's Watkins Glen. And that'll be coming at you this coming Saturday here on the North American Sim Racing Network. But that's then, this is now, and that's on the stock car circuit. This is here on the GTLM circuit. Carson Miller is now, as we're talking, Kyler Anderson has been knocked down a little bit. A couple of drivers down in the order have pushed some drivers down, but I do believe, as we got 30 seconds to go in qualifying, so Kyler Anderson and Samat Ozkin were both pushed down the order. Will Parrish running a blisteringly fast lap. And Eric Blaze has gone up to second with a 1:33.751. I believe he might have that tiebreaker over the 21 here. In the last couple of moments, Caleb Rose's development driver is going to sit on the pole position for tomorrow afternoon's GT Daytona grid here. And how about that last little run for Eric Blaze? 1:33.751. That's going to put him in a tie with Karanko. And yeah, Blaze has that cleared by Karanko. Blaze currently sitting 6th in the point standings and Karanko down in 11th. So Eric Blaze will start on the outside pole for tomorrow afternoon's 50-lapper. But Damian Karanko is going to round out the starting 3. You got Joseph Wood and Aaron Abel are going to round out the top 5. Dylan Matthews will round out the starting 6. And the 9 drivers that will be going home for tomorrow afternoon's TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Kyler Anderson by quite a bit, by nearly half a tenth of a second there over Carson Miller. But Kyler Anderson, Samat Ozkin, Dylan Ebrahimian will miss his 2nd consecutive race as the points leader. But he will get the points lead away from Alexander Rowe, going into the race tomorrow. But as those guys will be awarded points here and now. But Dylan Ebrahimian, Esteban Lasser, Daniel Bouchard, Matt Lagasse will miss yet another race in the 60. Same thing with Connor Monaco. Alexander Rowe, the man who is leading the points by 1 point over Dylan Ebrahimian, and Ryan Durrani will be the 9 drivers that will be watching from their motorhomes tomorrow afternoon. But that will do it for FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship qualifying here at the Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez tomorrow afternoon. 50 laps for race number 5 of the season at this 17-turn, flat as can be track here in Mexico City for race number 5 of the season here in the 2026 campaign of the N2003 FMGTC season. Here in your home for all N2003 content, the North American Sim Racing Network. That's going to do it here for today's broadcast. Congratulations to Nathan Buchanan as well as to Pedro Salvato, your 2 pole winners for GT Daytona and GT Le Mans respectively. See you guys back here tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. We'll double check that right here and right now. And it will be 2 p.m. Eastern time for the 3rd ever running the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix here at the Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Viva la Mexico. See you tomorrow afternoon.